And I'm back for another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. This is your man Warrior, and I got a special request to do Aayla Secura. Aayla Secura is now farmable. I know in the past she was at one point a Chromium exclusive, but they have since recently, in the last few months, moved her over to the Cantina battles. She's actually on node 5B, so you got to get to the 5th level, and then it's the second battle in on Cantina. And they just wanted to kind of check out Aayla. Now, I have Aayla, and I have her 7 stars, and I have her at gear 10, which is the highest she goes. However, I am missing a couple critical pieces. I could farm this Mark V thermal detonator, which gives her another 5% health steal, which is huge. More armor, more strength, more damage. All that's critically important. And then I also have the stun gun that I got to put in there, which is more tenacity, health, and strength. So she's not fully geared up. And then my attacks and abilities are only at level 3 basically on her. And her mods are meager at best, 1 and 2 dot mods for most of them. But I do know how you would want to mod her up and what the abilities do when they're maxed out. So let's go ahead and get started with Aayla Secura. So Aayla Secura is a Jedi. She's considered a support character. However, we are seeing in the meta, we all know that's the change or shift in the characters being utilized, that almost 50% of all the players out there, if you go through the top 100 teams on all servers, almost half of everybody is using the new Emperor Palpatine. Now, Emperor Palpatine is popular, and he should be. He's a very powerful character. He can stun characters, and he does damage and can self heal. But the one thing that happens when one character rises, another character will rise up as well. And I think Aayla Secura is going to rise up in popularity, and there's a bunch of reasons why. I'll go over them today. But if nothing more, if you need a Jedi for the Yoda event, Aayla is one of the finest Jedi. I would put her right behind Qui-Gon Jinn and Anakin. Jedi Knight Anakin and Qui-Gon obviously are probably my 2 favorites, but Aayla is right there, number 3. I actually like Aayla better than Kit Fisto, and I like her better than even Yoda himself, even though Yoda's got a pretty cool kit of stuff. So she looks pretty cool, and she has a bunch of cool abilities. So let's go ahead and get through her attacks and abilities. So the first one is called Inspiring Strike. Now, really quick, she is a versatile attacker. I'll just give you a brief update on her. A versatile attacker, which means that she can do a lot of different attacks. She has a small dodge percentage. Some characters don't have any dodge percentage, and she has some, so she can survive pretty good through some dodges from time to time. And then also she's self-healing. I'll get that in a minute on Survivor. And then, which is cool. Anytime a character can self-heal, they're really a great standalone character. And then, of course, she has a massive amount of hit points, and she could almost be classified as a tank just because of how many hit points she has. So her power, I have her at 7892. If you look at the top, it says 7892, but it goes up without mods to 8022. So I'm missing, with the mods, I'm missing probably 200 to 300 of her power. Again, she's not fully maxed out for me. And then her speed, her base speed is 119. Now, that's not bad. You can get her very easily to 180 to 220 speed with mods, and that would make her extremely fast. Although I will tell you, Aayla's awesome. You do not have to get her speed up a ton. She is a retribution type character, and with those type characters, speed is less important. You can focus your mods on other abilities that they have, or focus on other mod characteristics that you desire to have, because when she gets hit, she's going to respond. So she'll take extra turns. She'll go out of turn and attack back. And so speed, while it's always important, it's less important for somebody that has the ability to counter. Now, her health again is base health is at the top end 19,500. When you add her protection of about 20,000, she's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 40,000. That is a tough cookie. You're going to have to beat on her for a while to kill her and get her down. So let's just get right into it on the attacks and abilities. So Inspiring Strike. Now I only have these to level 3, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you kind of where I have mine, but then what it can get to. So it says it'll deal physical damage to the target enemy. Now by the way, when you read this, it's a lot of legal jargon almost. You have to read it specifically because there's different kinds of damage, right? There's physical damage, there's special damage, and so when you're reading these, you got to make sure that you're paying attention to what kind of damage. So when you're reading their stats, for example, that you're going in and you're actually reading their physical properties. So this physical offense section is what's going to apply to that first ability. Her survivor is deal special damage, which is going to be down here in the special offense. Most people know this, but if not, you really do need to pay attention to the wording. It's not just lackadaisical. It's almost like I said, legal writing. They have it written very specifically, and so you know where to go to find the stats specific for it. So it says it deals physical damage to an enemy, a target enemy, and of course target enemy means 1, with a 20% chance to call an ally to assist. So on her basic, every time she smashes somebody, there's a chance that somebody on your team is going to get called out of turn to smack as well. Now, this is not as cool as Qui-Gon Jinn or Geonosian Soldier, but the percentage is going to trigger, and at her max, it goes up to a 35% chance call to assist. So it'll happen about a third of the time, which this is a little better than some of the other calls to assist that are around 20%, such as Captain Phasma. So 35% is not bad. And if the individual that is called out is a Jedi, they deal 50% more damage. Now, if you've got Qui-Gon and Jedi Knight Anakin on your team, there's going to be a great chance she's going to call someone, and it's going to be an even greater chance one of them come and hit, and they're going to deal 50% more damage. So similar to Qui-Gon Jinn's ability to call and assist, and the assister does more damage, Aayla Secura's is going to do the same thing if they're a Jedi. Now, her basic attack, we're not going to talk about all the, how high it can actually get, because I haven't even seen it. I have seen some videos where this damage has done 12 to 15,000 on a basic. That was a pretty tricked out Aayla. Mine can do about 7 to 9,000 on a basic attack, and her base stat for attack is somewhere in a ballpark of about 3,700, which is a little higher than average for a character. So she's pretty stout when she hits. She's nothing special, not like a Rey, but she also is nothing bad like an initial Barriss Offee or anything like that. So her initial basic is pretty dang good. She's going to hit them, and she's going to get 50% more damage if she calls in an assist, and she gets an assist a third of the time. Now, her number 2 ability, Survivor, is what makes her a survivor. It has a very short cooldown, which is very nice. Anytime you get cooldowns that you can do a special ability every other turn or every couple of turns, that's really nice. So this is initially a cooldown of 3, and mine says it deals physical damage to a target enemy, and it recovers health equal to 50% of the damage dealt. Now this is pretty cool because her special damage is about twice what her normal damage is. So if you've got her maxed out and she's doing 10k against your opponent, and her special damage is doing almost 20k, 15 to 18k, which I have seen at the highest end, you're going to get half of that back in health. So, 15k, that's 7,500 health, and she gets to use this every couple of turns. So she really does give herself the ability to self-heal pretty well. It's a pretty good self-healing capability. And then, of course, superior respite, reposit, however you say that word, reposit, I think. Anyway, I probably messed that word up. That's all right. This is a unique ability, and it has the little retribution arrow, and that's basically letting you know that this is ability to have a counter chance. And so just like any character in the game that has a counter ability, that's pretty cool. Anytime you get a character where you can have them automatically smacking back every so often, such as Sunfac or Fives, you put them on your team and they are annoying to the other team at no end. She is no different. She's got this, and her counter chance is pretty high. Her counter chance, for me, is the same as it will be for anybody, because I've got the highest. I've got it at 65% so far. So Aayla has a 65% counter chance, and it says 25% counter damage, but it will go up to 50% counter damage. So she's going to hit more than half the time back the person who's hitting her. That's better than someone like Sunfac. And she's going to do 50% more damage when she's got this maxed out. The other thing that's very, very cool is it says, in addition, that she has a 75% chance to stun her target for one chance whenever she critically hits. That just goes up to 100%. So she just gets the ability to stun her target whenever she gets a crit. So this is super cool because she's going to get hit, she's going to respond, she's going to smash them, and in the smashing back, she's going to end up stunning them. When it's maxed out, provided you have some potency on her, she's going to stun them, almost 100% of the time. So it's a great, I know that for a while the stun was not working, it wasn't triggering very well, and they have since tweaked her and gotten her working over the last month, so this is definitely a great addition. Now, her unique is awesome because it gives her 10% extra critical damage. This is what I'm showing you here. It does, when it's maxed out, give you 10% extra critical damage, 65% counter chance, 50% more counter damage, and stunning them on a critical hit. So keep that in mind when we start talking about mods. You're going to want potency to make sure that 100% stun actually is 100%, because remember, their tenacity will reduce that. The other thing is her critical chance and critical damage is important. Critical chance is important so she actually crits, and critical damage is important is when she hits and it is a critical that she does a lot of damage. So those are the three stats that I would look at when you're modifying her in mods. And the last thing I'm going to go over is actually kind of the coolest, and it's her Jedi Valor. Now, this is her as a leader. Now, a lot of people don't really care of her as a leader. It actually shows that she's just a support character. But I would be very interested in seeing her as a lead going against someone like Emperor Palpatine. And the reason for this is her leader ability, when it's maxed, gives her whole entire team plus 40% tenacity. Now, imagine your characters, most of them already have tenacity somewhere in the ballpark of 30. She's going to give them another 40% tenacity, which is going to put them between 70, 60 to 100. They're all of your characters, without really having to spend a ton of time modding them with potency mods. She's going to give all of your entire team a ton, 40% tenacity out the gate. And with that tenacity, it's going to put them between 60 to 80, depending upon what character it is and what their natural tenacity was. But that is higher than most people can get or have their Emperor Palpatine. And so Emperor Palpatine does a lot of negative status effects, and there are a lot of characters people use that do negative status effects. And so tenacity is a really overlooked thing. I know a lot of people that care about potency. They want to apply those detrimental effects on the other teams, and so they spend a lot of time doing potency mods. And of course, we know critical damage and critical chance are always really good, but tenacity is one of those things you really don't want to waste your slots in the mods to add tenacity, and she's just going to hook your entire team up with a ridiculous sum of 40% tenacity. Now, this is what also is cool. There's a secondary side to her leadership ability, which is awesome. Anytime your team, anyone on your team, wards off a negative effect because of the tenacity, which is going to happen a lot because obviously they have a very high tenacity. They're going to resist a number of negative effects. They're going to gain life. So she's a life giver. Not only can she self-heal, but as a leader maxed out, she's going to be able to allow for your other characters to resist the majority of the negative status effects attempting to be applied to your characters. And then every time they resist, they're going to gain life. So it's pretty awesome. Now, I know that most people are not going to run out, get her, and turn her into the leader, but it does pose a really cool and unique situation where she could go up against some leaders like Emperor Palpatine or Captain Phasma, and I'd be very interested to see how she did as a leader. And it is just a very unique leadership ability that nobody else has. I know that there's a couple others that give tenacity, but this a tenacity and health gain when you ward off an effect is pretty cool. So, as far as her abilities on mine, anyway, where I have her, and again, she's not maxed, I've got her health and protection right at about 40,000, which is what I told you could get it to. Again, she's naturally kind of a speedier character right out the gate, so you don't have to do a whole lot to get her speed up. And her critical damage, of course, you want that high because she's going to crit, and you want her to do a lot of damage. Her potency and tenacity are both okay to start out with. You can see I don't have currently a lot of potency on her or tenacity. Potency will be something that I will add, although I'm going to be looking for critical chance and critical damage mods that give potency, so that way I can have the critical damage and critical chance bonuses. That's what I'm really hoping for. And then, of course, her health steal, which is every single time she whacks somebody, she gets some health back. And there's a lot of characters this happens with, but she gets that up to 10%. So I'm just missing one of the top end. I think it's the thermal detonator, which will give her the extra 5% health steal. But that's pretty cool, too. So, 10% of the damage dealt, she gains life every single basic. Her physical offense is kind of average as far as damage goes, but look at, I've currently got her physical critical chance up to 50. Now, she boosts herself up another 10% critical chance when her unique is maxed, and so she currently with mine would be about right around 60% critical chance, and that's about all you need to really have her stun in the other team pretty successfully. She has physical accuracy on here, which is a mod that I'd put on there to try to make sure that it negates some of the other team's ability to dodge. So, for example, Obi-Wan gives all their teams 15% dodge. This would take away half of that, and they would dodge half the amount of times. So this is kind of a cool character to go against evasion teams, for sure. And then special offense is similar to the other regular offense as far as the accuracy and the damage. Now the special critical chance is lower, but we also know she only does her special every 3 turns, and that's going to give her life. That's really not her basic that we're talking about when she attacks back. And of course she has some deflection, which is the chance to evade, or the dodge, which is the chance to evade. It's just dodge is evading physical abilities, and deflection is evading special abilities. They're the same thing, just the technical different damages that people can apply. She's pretty average across the board on strength, agility, and intelligence. And like I said, I don't have her totally and completely tricked out, and I don't have very good mods, but I do want to go over the mods briefly. Before I go into that, though, the gearing situation with her I wanted to go over really quick so everybody understands how to gear her. So she only takes one raid gear, and that is this right here, this droid collar. And actually, I think this is a Mark IV. She takes a Mark V, I think, on the previous. But anyway, she is pretty easy to gear when it comes to raid gear. Just a single raid gear part, which is awesome. It was on Gear 9 to get her from Gear 9 to Gear 10. But she is horrific when it comes to the purples. So if you're okay with gearing a character and having to farm the hell out of purple stuff, she takes forever. She's one of only like 5 characters, I think, that are over 1,000 purples. She's 1,015 purples, which is just absolutely asinine. But again, if you're willing to farm all the purples, she's only 1 raid gear. And then of course we got to see her stats. Now we'll look at her mods really quick. Now my mods on her suck. I've really got so I did what a lot of people do is you get a character, you're using them, so you toss whatever mods you have at the time, and you don't have a lot, and then you go to the next character, and then as you get new mods, you're like, ooh, I want to put them on that character, and it frees up some of those old mods for other characters, and the characters you're not using really just kind of either don't get modded or they get junk leftovers. That's kind of where she's at. I do have some set bonuses. I did the 30% critical damage set bonus. That's a great set bonus because 30% more crit is awesome. The other one I did, and this one's actually more important, is her critical chance. Why? Because if she gets a crit, she can stun the opponent, and she's countering with her basic. So every time she hits on a basic and every time she counters on a basic, she has a critical chance ability, and when she crits, she's going to stun them. So she needs potency for the stun, she needs critical chance to make sure the stuff lands. And then of course you can see the mods. I've got the critical damage receiver. I've got some accuracy on her because I don't want people dodging. I've got a basic offense primary stat, which is the only thing you can get in that one. I've got defense, which is the only thing you can put in here. I have health, which you could do health or protection, but I do not have any protection critical chance mods to put in there. Actually, I think that's, yeah, critical chance. And then over here, I have offense. I have nothing good. This is horrible. What you want here is a potency mod. The primary stat here should be potency. Instead of 4% offense, it should be potency. And then here I've got critical chance. Now this is great. It could be critical chance or critical damage. I'm already getting 30% critical damage on a set bonus, so critical chance is the one that really should go here, which is what I have. It's only a 3-dot mod, so it's 8.75% critical chance. And of course this one gives some protection and 7 speed, which 7 speed on a 3-dot is not bad. And like I said, this one's accuracy, which is the only place, if you want to have accuracy, you can place it. And I'm less concerned about speed with her. So if I were going to mod her perfectly, I would probably do away with the critical damage and just go straight critical chance on 2 of these and do the rest of these. Honestly, I'd probably do critical chance on all 6 as far as the set bonus, if I could get those. And then I would try and get them all 5-dot. And I would, of course, do a 5-dot critical chance offense, defense in the middle left. I would do protection over here just to mess with people, because when they're having to smack through 30,000 protection or 25,000 protection, it gets a little old. On the bottom right, of course, here I would have a 5-dot potency mod where the primary stat was potency. I would have a 5-dot critical chance mod right here, and then I would probably have a 5-dot accuracy mod, so that way she could be a little accurate and make sure she's getting through those dodge abilities. She is very usable on any team as a support, and again, it would be fun to watch her as a leader, but she's great. Now, how I use her, why I've gotten her up and spent a little bit of time on her, is because anytime that I am in Galactic War, especially in the past, and I run into a team that is just one of those crazy meta teams that has everybody I can't beat all paired together, we'll just say Royal Guard, this is the old meta, Royal Guard as your tank, and then you have Qui-Gon Jinn, and then you've got Rey, and then they probably have Captain Phasma as a leader, and then maybe they have old Doc at a revive, and we know that the RNG is going to revive 100% of the time everybody that dies, so you got to kill old Doc. And you just start smacking away, and you just can't get through this team. What I build is a counter team. I take Obi-Wan, and I put him as my leader, so I get some evasion, and I get some dodge, and then I put Tebow on the team, so that way I have someone that can A, remove turn meter, and B, someone that can take away Royal Guard's taunt, or any guard, or any tank's taunt. And then I put on 3 counters. I put in 5s as a big, heavy, tanky counter. I put in Aayla, and then I put in Kit Fisto. Now, I do have Sun Fac, but I use him down the road if things get a little dicier on Galactic War, because he is one of my top guys. But I build a counter team. Now, what's cool about a counter team is they're good against any team. Doesn't matter what team you're playing against. Doesn't matter whether they're meta or not, or whether they're Jedi, or whether they're Empire, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Counter teams are phenomenal against any teams, against AoE teams. They're great. They're great against droid teams. They're great against any kind of meta team that's been out in the past, current, or will come out in the future. It's just a great ability to smack back 30 to 80% of the time, depending upon your counter characters. And then, of course, they have their own attacks. So you get to do twice as many attacks. I would say the only downside to a counter team is their attacks normally are not quite as impressive as some of the other specialty characters. So they're not going to do quite as much damage, but they are going to do twice as much attacking as the opposing team. But I'll throw her into a counter team. I'll have her smoke or mostly smoke the team I'm going against. And it's funny because I can have my main Galactic War team just getting slaughtered, throw my counter team in, and they just walk through the opposing team. So she'd be great if you like a counter team, if you want to throw in someone who's got a counter ability. She's one of the better counter attackers, especially because her counter, kind of like Sunfac has a great counter ability of removing positive status effects. Her counter is stunning the opponent, and that is awesome. So if you're looking at getting Aayla, I would highly suggest it. She's a great support character. I'd love to see a video of somebody having her as a leader, getting tenacity and going against some Emperor Palpatines. Maybe that'll be something that I do down the road. That would be kind of fun and exciting. She's awesome. Keep in mind the mods are what you have, but if you had your way, I would say you definitely would want to add some accuracy to her. Speed is less important for the arrow. I would say you need to get critical chance because you want that as high as possible in the triangle, and you'd want potency on the plus symbol so that way you could make sure that she's getting those stuns and they're not resisting that stun. The left mods are easy. They're just going to be health, defense, and protection, but you're going to want to create sets, if at all possible, on critical chance. You can get 3 sets, giving you an extra 15% critical chance, or you could get your potency that way as well by doing 2 critical chance sets or set bonuses and 1 potency set bonus. It is what it is though. If all you have are health mods, put in a bunch of health mods. Just try to get the primary characteristic of that mod to be correct. As always, I hope you enjoy this video. If you did, like it, subscribe it. In the bottom, leave a comment of what you thought about it. And if there's any other characters you'd like to see reviewed, when I have an opportunity, I will review these. Obviously, this character's not maxed out, and I went ahead and did a review, so I'm confident now. I think I can do a review on pretty much anybody. I do like doing them on characters that I can see. And why don't we go out with a bang and do a battle with her, just so you can kind of see her in action. So let's go ahead and pick. We'll go to Cantina Battles. And why don't we go kind of high? We'll just pick, there's Emperor Palpatine right there. And we'll go battle. And we'll just pick a healer. And let's go ahead and put her in as leader. Interestingly enough, I don't have anything maxed out on her, but we're going to play with her and see how she does. And we're going to put in some fun characters. Let's put in another counter, Kit Fisto, so you can really see these. And I've got a couple of Jedi Knight or Jedis now, so that'll be kind of interesting to see. But I've got some counter characters, so you can kind of see what I mean about the countering. Now they're not going to get the healing ability because I did not max her out, of course. But I just want to see. That was a bonus attack. That was pretty cool. Let's go ahead and do Lando's. And there you go. There was a counter. And she doesn't need to do her healing attack. She did 74 on her basic. Now, like I said, I've seen her hit over 10,000. I have someone that said that she hit for 12,000 and then on a special did almost 20K. That's pretty dang good for kind of an average run-of-the-mill Jedi character that's, you know, neither here nor there. Let's do Lando again. Obviously, Lando is just my new favorite. I've been waiting to get him up and do something cool with him. Let's see if I can stun this guy. Oh, it's a counter that stuns, so nope, I'm going to have her counter. Let's see if she counters. I want someone to hit her so she can counter. And of course, Count Dooku pretty much gets a guaranteed counter. He's 100% counter chance. So the only time he won't is if your tenacity is up ridiculously high. And this is becoming a little easier than I was hoping. I'm hoping she gets a counter now. This will be a great battle to see her counter. I'm hoping when she counters, she stuns. So let's do Jedi Knight Anakin. I know what he's capable of. And he gives potency up in his AoE, which is very cool. You definitely want potency. There, he shocked her, she countered. Now, she did not stun him, and that is because I do not have it up high enough. He resisted the stun. And I'll go ahead and heal all that damage, and she heals. Hopefully he'll hit her again. I'd like to see that. Let's just do some basics. And she's countered again. Again, she did not stun. I've really got to get her basic abilities up, and I need to finish her off because normally when she counters, she stuns. Well, and there you go on a basic. That was not a counter, and she actually stunned him, so that was pretty cool. And he got to attack twice, which is one of his abilities. And that stun is excellent just because it keeps him immobilized. By the time he comes out of this coma, he'll be dead. And boom, there you go. So you got to see her counter a little bit. Again, I really need to trick her out and get her totally and completely maxed out to truly and efficiently see all that she has to offer in her glory. But if you liked the video, like it, subscribe, share the video. And as always, keep your gaming on. Warrior, out.